Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Let's Play Darksiders 2, brought to you in part by one Jinja Ninja, who won the prize during Gami this year to pick an LP for me to do, and he chose this one. So everyone thank Jinja, because what we've got ahead of us is a side sequel to Darksiders 1, meaning that it takes place simultaneously to the events of that game. And if you didn't play it, which I really recommend you do, you absolutely should play it, or watch my LP of it. If you didn't do either of those two things, though, Darksiders is a fantasy RPG with dungeon crawling in the vein of a Zelda and combat in the vein of a God of War, or kind of a standard melee action-style game. And it uses biblical lore as a mythological backdrop for its story. It's about the horsemen of the apocalypse. The first game was about war, who triggered the end times prematurely, and it was all about him trying to clear his name. This game is about his brother, Death. This one is a lot less low fantasy biblical fiction and more high fantasy. It still leans on the biblical and other mythological elements a little bit, but less so than Darksiders 1 did. They also do a lot more with things like varying up the locales and the scenery, and the combat is also substantially better. And we'll see how that is as we get into the prologue.
There can be no life without order. Good, evil, darkness, light. There must be balance in the universe. Such is the decree of the Charred Council, an ancient body charged by the Creator to preserve the very fabric of existence. But the balance has been broken. Even now, Earth smolders in ruin, fallen to the demon lords, and the Destroyer carves a new kingdom amongst his mighty chosen. Some say the Horsemen War triggered the apocalypse, that he rode to Earth unbidden and doomed all of mankind. But what of the other horsemen, fearless enforcers of the Council's will? What of fury, strife, and death? To know those names, you must first know another. Nephilim, cursed union of angel and demon. The Nephilim took countless realms to the sword and burned them to ash. But 4 amongst them grew weary of the slaughter and feared their conquest would imperil the balance. And so a truce was made. The 4 would serve the Council in exchange for unimaginable power. Thus were the dreaded horsemen formed, and the riders' first task was to purge their own brethren from creation, to annihilate the Nephilim and destroy their souls. Let us now cast our gaze to one amongst the 4, not War, who lies chained at the Council's feet, professing his innocence, but one who would save his brother above all else. He has many names: Kinslayer, Executioner, Death. To bargain for war's freedom, Death swore that he would resurrect humanity. But he knew not how this might be done. And so Death rode forth into the icy veil to find the Keeper of Secrets.
Right away, we have Despair, who is so much better of a horse than Ruin, because he's got pretty teal flames. He's got teal flames, he got like purple and light blue going on all over Death. this icy blue setting. This one spot in the game, right off the bat, has more color than like 90% of Darksiders 1. I think it fits Joe Mad's art better. Like, his aesthetic shines brighter when you can introduce some really nice, vivid colors. So Ruin, Despair works similarly to Ruin, who works similarly to Epona, with the carrots boosting the sprint speed. Now we're going to get introduced to a little melee combat. So we have the standard X, Y setup, or X triangle setup. X is for scythe attacks. Triangle is going to be for our sub-weapons, which we'll get into it in a little bit. And you know what else we have aside from a really good horse? Proper fucking attack canceling! In concert with the dodge button! Oh shit, it's so sleek and so good feeling! You'll have no idea how happy I am about that. I complained so much about that in Darksiders 1. It made it feel sluggish. You were so committed to an attack, even light attacks. Here you can cancel out of them with a dodge, you can cancel them with the launcher. Feels good, man. Let's see, and I think we should be seeing Dusk sooner or later. Just, yep, there he is, perching over on the ledge. This section's quite linear, but once things open up outside of the prologue, Dusk's presence is going to be a lot more appreciable. Dusk is your guide bird. He perches where the developers want to direct the player's attention. It's a more organic way of doing like the big floating arrow or pinging a location or putting a big column of light somewhere to tell you, hey, you gotta go here, dummy. So I think it's his implementation is quite clever for directing the player. In the side cavern, even that animation I dig, man. And we have auto loot on, so we picked up all the health potions. We can have a maximum of 5 right now. Same goes for Wrath potions. Wrath is like our magic gauge, but we don't have any spells to use yet. And while we're here, we can get a good feel for Darksiders 2 traversal. I don't necessarily want to call it platforming, because it's not really complex or challenging like proper platforming should be. But it is satisfying. It's satisfying traversal. Darksiders 1 had less satisfying traversal, because Death is a lot more adroit. He's quicker, he moves more sleekly. He platforms around the place better. He just really scales walls, wall runs, does all this stuff like zip. Zippity quick. Lickety split? I'm going for something like that. God, I'm really happy to be doing Darksiders 2. It's got its own unique set of problems compared to Darksiders 1, but it improves in so many ways over Darksiders 1 as well. And the prologue, like, this is all good stuff. It's, as far as introductions go to all of the ways in which this improves over Darksiders 1, does a pretty good job of conveying that. And I almost forgot, we got loot too, also new to Darksiders 2, because I have auto loot on. Almost forgot that I picked some of this shit up. We're not going to worry about armor right now, but because I wanted to show the sub-weapon system off, where triangle are your sub-weapon attacks, in this case a hammer, and we have various charge moves for that and all that stuff. Just want to show that too. Whew, it was a nice juggle. So, obviously right now it's really hard to show in detail, but Darksiders 2, man, it's such a substantial upgrade over the first game's combat as well. It's one of the biggest areas of improvement, in fact. It was hard to hear the Crowfather in the distance. We'll hear him more clearly in a little bit. Dust even glows for you, just to make sure your eyes can catch him directing you. But Darksiders 2's combat is so much better that it's, at times, it borders on being a character action game. It sits right on that threshold, I think. It's certainly a lot more interactive than like a standard God of War. You could do some downright stylish shit in this game. And one little quirk here is, you've seen it so far a couple of times, we have a launcher. We have just a very standard, right off the bat launcher. You jump mid-attack, and that's what causes that buzzsaw-style somersault, which I think was an upgrade for War. He got something similar, but I think he activated it differently. In this case, though, we can just do that from a ground combo, launch them, start an aerial raid-style combo, and you can really get into some really nifty juggles. And Dust wants us to come over here. We get a little bit more of this very quick, less sluggish platforming, too. I believe we are almost at the end of the prologue. They want to get us into a little bit more combat, a little bit more traversal. To get our beaks wet, then we are on to some, a little bit of plot progression, I believe. Jesus, that swells and soars. It's really evocative. DS1's voice cast was one of the best parts of that game. It's by far the best part of the game's audioscape. Darksiders 2 not only boasts a similarly fantastic voice cast, but its musical score is also excellent. There are actually memorable tracks on this soundtrack. Crowfather does not want us to get close to him. You heard his voice a little bit more clearly there, but it might still be a little bit too far away to tell that is Azrael. Azrael from Darksiders 1. You know, the beams. Redirect the beams. That Azrael. We got him again. Oh, yeah, that charge up midair hammer attack. Different weapons, of course, have unique movesets, and we'll be purchasing new combos and new abilities as we go on. The way you can string some of this stuff together is also really impressive for this style of action game. As I was alluding to before, both spells and your standard upgrade abilities. Oops, they want me a wall run here. And they still have a fairly distinct way of denoting like where you can climb and traverse on. In Darksiders 1, it was a little bit weird feeling with the demonic growth. This feels just a tiny, tiny bit more organic. Just a tiny bit. And we could just quickly bounce from beam to beam to beam. The beams. Traverse across the beams. Everyone loves those beams. Whoops. You want me going up or down? I think the camera was just a little bit shy of this one up here. Moves around like... Oh god, what are those terrifying looking rodents with those huge creepy eyes? People buy it as pets at the circus. Sugar gliders.
Voices, always voices. Torment without end.
Keeper of secrets, I need your help.
I helped you once before, horsemen. Look at me now. How I cursed that day. How I curse you.
Careful, Crowfather. I'm not here to put you out of your misery. Not yet.
I know why you've come. Your brother, the one called war. He's been imprisoned by the Charred Council and awaits their judgment for dooming the Earth, for mankind's extinction. Why should I care about your brother's fate?
Because you know the truth. Your secrets can save him.
The Council will condemn war. Strip him of power, let him rot in oblivion. To hide the truth. My secrets cannot prove his innocence, horsemen.
No, but they can help me to erase the crime.
Bring mankind back from extinction. Madness.
If it's madness, then who better to show me the way?
Should a way exist, you will find it here.
The Tree of Life. Let me pass.
Not yet. That which you gave me, you will take it back.
In exchange for its secrets, you agreed to keep the amulet.
No. The voices, they curse and threaten without end. They cry to return. You must destroy it!
I cannot.
You annihilated their flesh. Why do you guard their souls?
Open the portal.
You will not pass while I live.
So be it.
Here your brethren are trapped in eternal torment. Do you wish to join them? And what of war? Would you kill your brother to save your precious balance?
He is innocent.
Are you so certain?
Now, fight the protagonist of the first game. Like, not really war, but the shadow of war. I would love to call this a rival battle, but one, it's not a recurring thing, and two, his moveset's very, very limited. He has the same 3-hit combo, and he has the AoE spell from the first game. They timed that really well for the scythe hit to coincide with the brass. How sick would it be, though, if Shadow War was our Nello Angelo? And he got progressively more complex as the game went on. He could crown you with summon swords and shit. It's a missed opportunity. Maybe Darksiders 3 will have something like that.
Open the portal. Your secrets die with you, old fool.
My secrets, but not yours. The uncountable worlds of our universe swirl in an endless abyss. Many worlds ravaged by time or conflict are swallowed by the abyss, returned to the nothingness from which they were formed. But others linger for eternity on the brink of annihilation, that creation might be balanced with destruction. And in the final moment of battle, death was banished to one such world in the autumn of its life, yet not far from the edge of darkness. Had death been sent to his doom? That answer would be found in the horseman's future and in his past.
Be still, horseman. You are wounded.
Don't touch me.
Your arrival here is a bad omen. Yes, it troubles me greatly.
Old one, there's more trouble ahead if you don't start making sense. Where is the tree of life?
Life? This world is dying, lad. Choking on chaos and corruption. We can do little to stop it. Soon, the great tree too shall perish, and with it, the last of my people. Is that not what brought you here, Pale Rider?
I seek the tree. Your chaos and corruption don't concern me.
So I do believe that's a pretty good first taste. Next time we can get into some more open-ended stuff and maybe see our first dungeon. That's going to do it for now. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Have a good one.